Manon players, please understand this. Just because your low forward is not drive rushable does not mean it does not have any value. If you try to press low forward thinking that, okay, I'm going to get low forward drive rush, I'm going to get my party started, I'm going to do the things that I want to do, the moment you think that's an available option, you're going to get hit by something. You're like either crouching medium punch or standing medium punch, right? One of these options is going to catch you up because your button will whiff. Let's change things up, shall we? We're going to be watching some pro play, so looking for opportunities to learn from what the pros do, why they do them, and it's a good learning opportunity. Let's start off with instance number 1 here, right? As a Manon player, you're looking for instances to get your party started, but it's not every instance that you get an option that you should be doing something off of it. What do I mean by this? So because in this instance a couple of frames ago, he gets a pull in, right? Notice how the first interaction, he's choosing to walk back, right? This is an option in the case that because we have available currently full drive gauge on either side, right? Or he's missing one, but obviously it's still pretty large, so he's not afraidable to use 2 of his drive gauge to kind of hit you off of him, and then he can kind of play a little bit further out from you or drive rush at you or whatever have you, right? So you want to prevent an option like that. Like obviously he can go for a mix option where he can go for command grab, he can go for crouch jab. If he's feeling cheeky, he can go for back medium punch or back medium kick. These options are available to him. But instead, off of the first instance, he decides to walk away to try and bait this option, trying to set a tone for the rest of the game. Okay, the second time he decides to do this, right, off of this instance here, after going for this option, he was actually successful, because understanding the mind game that's there is really important, because now you're conditioned to think that, okay, he's going to walk back. If he tries to walk back as the other player, you're going to start thinking, okay, maybe I can go for a low forward and attack his toes, right? Because if you're trying to walk back here, you will get caught if they try to go for low forward. So then he's trying to instill this sort of mind game that's here, and it's generally good to do, and especially because this was a little bit later in this set, I do want to add that there were certain adaptations made. Okay, and then there's this next part. Manon players, please understand this. Just because your low forward is not drive rushable does not mean it does not have any value. Let me show you what I mean. If your opponent decides to press after this instance here, right afterwards, I guarantee you, if you try to press low forward thinking that, okay, I'm going to get low forward drive rush, I'm going to get my party started, I'm going to do the things that I want to do, the moment you think that's an available option, you're going to catch an option. You're going to get hit by something. You're like either crouching medium punch or standing medium punch, right? One of these options is going to catch you up because your button will whiff. This is the way you're going to use your crouching medium kick. Your crouching medium kick is not for drive rushing, okay? You cannot drive rush off of this button. So how do we use it? We use it to space ourselves out from our opponent, make them think that they can go for something, and then in the case that we do, bop bop, we can kill them for it, right? Now, if your opponent decides to just fully disengage, right, in these cases, then we can press the advantage forward. So when we're pressing the advantage forwards, we can walk into them a little bit further, make them a little bit more afraid, make them walk back a little bit more, and then the more they walk back, the closer they are to the corner, and then we can space them out and bully them in the corner. This is how you want to play the neutral. You want to push them towards the corner by using the strength of your normals. Now, off of this instance, now he has him trapped in the corner, okay? When you have your opponent trapped in the corner, it doesn't mean that immediately the moment you have your opponent trapped in the corner, this doesn't mean, oh, you immediately, right? That's not what it means, right? If you're going to play Manon successfully, you're going to control this mid-range. Find ways to control the spacing in the game. Look for opportunities to whiff punish or to push up on your opponent in a safe manner, right? If you're able to do this, then and only then you'll be able to become a very strong Manon. So in this matchup in particular, one thing that you need to note is that a lot of Rashids want to use their mobility, their air mobility, to get out the corner, right? Enhanced Wind is one of those ways they can do this very easily, right? They can also go for their an option like this to kind of get out, right? Put one out and then jump out like that, right? They can also use a metered option to kind of check the space and then get out the corner, and then now they're in the mid screen and then they can do whatever they want, right? These are the types of options we have to keep in mind. So off of this instance, after he went for the charge fireball, Idom was aware of the options that he's most likely to choose, and this is the key word, most likely to choose, right? This doesn't mean that Dual Kevin cannot go for raw drive rush off of this instance, but he decided to go for an option that he felt would work in this instance. Now, for a Manon player, your goal is to keep them in the corner. Keeping in mind the easiest path to that is the idea, or the one that you want to shut down as often as possible. So he went for a instant jump standing light kick to check him. It went off the reset. They both went for a jab situation, and Idom won the exchange, and this should be a kill. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the strongest tools that Manon has that a lot of lower fellas don't use, that's that this stand light kick is power. This stand light kick is truth. You may think that I am memeing. I am not memeing. This button is going to be our power. Okay, if we are able to successfully shut down drive rushes using this normal, it gives us immense value, right? Off of this instance, Idom decided to go for stand light kick into the up kicks, but another option that he definitely could have shown as well is the fact that if he really wanted to, he could also spend drive gauge, right? Drive gauge in order to get this. Now, one thing I do want to note is that if you try to do stand light kick into drive rush without the counter hit status, you will not get the combo. However, this works because while you're in drive rush, you are always in counter hit status. So basically, this is a guaranteed way to get the combo every time, provided you're able to check your opponent when he goes for this option. Let's talk about this instance here, right? We get the check, everything's cool. He gets the combo, spends drive rush, keep. Okay, now he's at about 1 bar of drive gauge off of this instance. The next decision that matters here is the fact that he runs, goes for crouching medium punch, which will be plus, right? He whiffs it, unfortunate, it happens. Okay, now he's in the situation, peep, the fact that he only has this much drive gauge left. Now this matters a lot because the next interaction will force an option out of your opponent. Okay, now there are 2 ways you can go about it. You can be hyper aggressive here, which Idom does choose, but the other option is to be a little bit patient here. Now the reason why you can afford to be a little bit patient here is because if you're put in this situation and let's say you decide to back off, you get the punish. Now, in the case that they don't go for a spinning mixer, we can also get an opportunity to hit them with a standing heavy kick. Standing heavy kick does quite a bit of drive gauge damage, so even if we give them a little bit of time to recover, the standing heavy kick will either A, put them back in the same situation, or B, burn them out altogether. So these are the types of things that I want you to start thinking about when you want to go for a burnout scenario. So if you find yourself in this situation, you get your hard knockdown and you want to go for your pressure, back medium kick is a good mix here. So if you don't know what this mix is, essentially you go for back medium kick and medium kick. Okay, the second medium kick is going to lead into an overhead. So essentially what happens is while your opponent is trying to block the overhead that is coming, they can get hit by the command grab, because it's either you're walking back, you hold up, which loses to the overhead, or you hold back, which will beat the overhead option, right? So you're kind of in a situation where you genuinely have to guess. Now with that being said, Dual Kevin does have the option to use level 1 or level 2, right? Most likely level 1, because level 1 is the invincible one, obviously, right? But the thing is that there is also a mind game here where if he decides to use this, right, then not to mention it's only gonna do give or take this much health, and now you're locked out from level 1, level 2. And level 2 in a lot of scenarios is Dual Kevin's win scenario, okay, his win condition. Once he has that, it's very hard for Manon to survive that instance, albeit she does have options to get out of it, but it makes it very difficult. So if we decide to go for offense, knowing that, okay, you're gonna either A, spend this meter, or you're gonna feel this pressure. So in this case, now he goes for back medium kick into the overhead, into another overhead, because if you're thinking that, you know, it's over with, it's not over with. Okay, he does it again, and then this is exactly what happens when you try to hold up on the situation, because you think that you could potentially get out of it, and now you get hit, and then you get comboed into death. So this is how you want to go about structuring your offense. I hope this gets you a little bit more in the mind of a great Manon player, and these are the things you want to be looking out for while you're playing Manon. I hope this helps. With that being said, any questions?